Hi there. So welcome back. Today we're going to be doing another one of these little 10-minute ink landscapes. Obviously, I've decided to call them the 10-minute ink quick landscape wash with ink and drawing exercises. I have no idea, but they're fun. They take 10 minutes, and I enjoy doing them, and I hope you guys do too. So let me know about that. Should we crack on? Right, today we're going back. I wish somebody would put wood in hole. As they say in Yorkshire, were you born in a barn? I wasn't born in a barn. I'm no messiah. Right, as I've said before, these are small bits of paper. Feel free to cut up 10 or 11 of them, specifically either 10 or 11, no more or less, not allowed. And just have a go with multiple versions. You can knock out these in 3 or 4 minutes if you're doing them as a batch. So just try different things. Don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to get results you didn't expect or don't want. That's the whole point. One of the things that's really important, and I insist on, is that you relax. You put some music on, get a cup of tea, do whatever you want to do. You could be painting with some hardcore thrash metal in the nude. And as long as you've closed your curtains, who cares? Really, really stormy here today. And I'm looking outside and there's just seagulls circling above the house. Now, we live in the middle of the country, so it's a bit unusual to see them this far inland, but I heard them before on the roof. It makes me feel this is quite appropriate. Anyway, again, so masking fluid is basically a resistive material. And what does that mean? Well, you put it over the top of pieces of the drawing that you want to not colour. And you can rub it off afterwards. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this and we're going to use Harriet the hairdryer, and then we can go in and put some ink over the top. Okay. So as I said before, we're going to be using some masking fluid on this. Now what I want to try and do is create some highlights sort of on the water. So I might want to actually try and make those highlights bigger at the front and smaller at the back, because again it tells that perspective story. So let's give it a go. Now, masking fluid, when you're spotting it on like this, is a bit hit and miss, I'll be honest. So if you can keep it a little bit sort of rough and gestural, I'm going to just tap that over my finger like that. I hope you can see I'm tapping it like that over my finger. And we can see how we get on. So because I want big bits at the front, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the front. Thus. And then I'm going to work, it's going absolutely everywhere. Right. And then as we get further back, oh no, it's not, well, it's not worked brilliantly. See, starting to get some smaller bits now. Right, I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm just going to go with that. What I could do actually is I could pick up some of this masking fluid and I could create some, yeah, we'll do that. We'll create some little lines. And as we get further back, those can get really small. There we go. And closer together. And then at the front they become bigger. Yeah, so we're just winging it now. There's these big blobs of masking fluid there. I could take those out. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna leave them. I just want to see how it turns out. It's always fun just to do new stuff. Now, when you apply masking fluid, you can a good way of doing it is by using a toothbrush, and then when the bristles stick up, with the back of your hand going across the bristles of the toothbrush and aiming it onto the paper. That's really good. This isn't really a great brush for it, but you just got to practice. Just before you do it on your final piece, try it on a bit of scrap paper. Don't do what I did then and just bung it on. But the other thing you can do is you can use masking fluid. You can paint it on to get really specific, accurate results, or you can draw it on with a dip pen. There's lots of ways of doing it. You don't have to just splosh it on as roughly as I did then, but it's the way we're working today. We're just being a bit crazy with it. So here we have the final version. Are we back? Hello. Okay, so we're gonna use this little low, which is a diamine, another diamine ink from Cult Pens. It's quite a nice sort of brownie, not brownie, it's a sort of yellowy colour, but it's got quite a lot of sort of like orange in it too. So I'm just going to put a few dots in this little egg cup here and secure that, so I make sure I spin it everywhere like always. So I'm going to just start at the foreground and then I'm going to wash backwards, so it's going to start dark and then get lighter as we get back. So I'm going to get some ink to begin with on this big brush, just some ink, water, and I'm just going to really quickly wet it. Now this is just because I want it to be slightly diffuse, I want it to be slightly wet, and then I'm going to get some of this raw ink, spinning the piece round, not remember because I've not told you that already, but we're going to spin the piece around and we're going to tilt it up a little bit. So it's going to be at a slight angle, and we're going to start at the top. Get some more of that on, and then we're going to go down. And then as we get further back, we can just be a little bit more abstract. You see, I'm just doing some lines there. So that's it really. It's as simple as that, or as quick as that. And then we'll leave that to dry. Okay. So we won't leave that to dry. We'll get a hairdryer on it again. I swear these tutorials are like a million ways to use a hairdryer. My boy said to me the other day, he'd got out of the bath and his hair was wet, and I was just drying it with a towel, and he said, "Daddy, why don't we just use the paint dryer?" Indoctrinating the little blighters. Okay, so there we go. So that's pretty dry now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some tissue, and I'm going to hold it as firmly as I can. And then the reason why I'm using tissue, is because I don't want to get my mucky, greasy fingers all over the page. I want to try and keep any grease off the picture as possible, because it will discolour it in time. Is some seagulls, because it's the kind of thing who will annoy proper artists who say it's really twee, and we all like to annoy proper artists. So we'll put some seagulls in. Some of them are flying this way, some of them are landing here or going up there. Let's put a couple on the water. And they're taking off. I'm looking at my drawing and seeing what I've done previously with this one. One up here. Maybe put a couple on the boat. I'm waiting for some fish. And there we go. I think that tells the story there. Okay, so finally, I'm going to go back in and with this raw concentrated ink, which again just is the diamine. Okay, so yeah, this little low, we're going to add that in here, and we're going to just do that shadow under the boat. So how that looks is here, there's just a tiny bit of shadow. And what that helps is it helps to sort of plant the boat on the water so that it doesn't look like it's just floating, which obviously it is floating, but it puts it on the surface of the water rather than it just being, on top of that layer, if you know what I mean. So you could go in here and put in some black if you wanted to do a really dark shadow, but I just think I'm going to do a little hint of it. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that quite a fun little image. Now, if you wanted to embellish that, you could go in with a white gel pen and add in some details, some more sparkles of the water. You could put some lights on the boat or whatever. But I think one of the joys of these little sketches is these little they're very simple processes. You don't have to be too precious. You don't have to be too fussy. And there's loads of silhouettes of boats. You could put a sailing ship on there, a rowing boat. As long as you have that life in the water, those little sparkles, then you're laughing, really. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Now, for all my patrons, you could share it on the forum. Put the images up there. I'd love to see them. And it would be really nice to get for other people to give you a little bit of positive feedback on those. It's really good to share your stuff sometimes, even if you're not 100% about it, stick it up there, share it, let's all have a look at it. We're all on this art journey together, and we're all here to learn. And for my YouTube followers or viewers, this will be a slightly truncated version. When I do the full version on Patreon, it will be a little bit longer than what you see here, with a bit more detail in, and I hope you appreciate that, why that is. And yeah, so we'll see you again. I hope you enjoy that. Let me know how you get on. If you want to have a look at my website, there's some original art there. Or just send me some pictures, get in contact. We'll see you again soon. Bye bye.